Yo, what is going on, guys? Achilles here, bringing you another tank review. This time we're going to be doing the Object 430, the third of the Tier 10 Russian mediums. The others being the Object 140 and the T62A, and this is generally regarded as the ugly stepsister of the three. This one doesn't get a lot of love for a couple various reasons that I will be highlighting throughout this review. First of all, let's start out with the armor profile. You've got a pretty good, pretty nice looking hull here. 120 millimeters. If you're familiar with the T-54, that is the same hull thickness as that tank, as well as the side armor, 80 millimeters, which is very good. That number is concurrent with the E50, so you know, you can pull off some nice side scraping in this thing, which I will be highlighting. And the front of the turret, 248 millimeters, but that can be deceiving, as I will highlight when I get to the gameplay. Actually, I don't remember if I get shot in the weak spot on top of the turret in the gameplay, but I'll talk about it. I'll make sure I talk about it. Make sure you guys know how to take out one of these things if you ever encounter one. The side of the turret, I think that says 185. Here, let me check the module. Yeah, 185. And then 63 on the rear. And the rear armor of the tank, so let's take a look at the modules. We've got a 580 horsepower engine. I mean, it's not the best, but that's the same with the other Russian tanks, or the Russian mediums, I should say. They don't really have very high power engines, and they're not known for their extreme speeds. So you're not really going to be blown away with the horsepower of the engines that you're getting in a Russian medium. And don't let that get you down. The Russian medium still can get up to a pretty good speed of 55 with this one. The 62A being 50, and then 140 is 55 as well. So we'll get to the gun later. We have a 52-degree traverse speed on the hull, which is very nice. As you saw on the bat chat review that I did, the 42-degree traverse speed is very poor for a 210 medium compared to something like this tank. 52 degrees is very fast. And then, oh, I mean to do that. And then the turret, which I already said, 248, 185, 63, got a 40-degree traverse speed, which is pretty good. I mean, it's not extremely fast, but it's manageable, and you won't have any problems with it unless your turret ring gets hit, which in that case you should probably fix it unless you have some other module that's more important damaged. And a 400 meter V range, which is pretty standard with the Russian mediums. So let's move on to the gun. You've got the 9.36 rounds a minute, which is extremely good. This gun is spitting out shots about every 5.06 seconds with my setup. This rate of fire is actually better than the other Russian mediums. If I can see if it'll let me show the gun. Let's look at the 140. Now you can see that 9.09 right there, rounds per minute. So if you thought the 140 was fast, this thing is even faster, if you can even imagine that. So you're going to be spitting out shots like crazy in this thing. But the bad thing about this is that your aim time and your accuracy aren't the best. As you can see, the I'll just say 2.3 second aim time isn't the best for a Russian medium, or for any medium tank that matter, for that matter. But it's not awful. It's not the batchat 2.7 seconds, which is pretty bad, but that thing has an auto loader, so that makes sense. And then the accuracy is also the same as the batchat, so you're going to be having those same problems hitting those shots over 300 meters. But Pretty much in a Russian medium, you're pretty much just gonna be in their face, brawling. That's what the Russian mediums are good at. The brawling, get in your face, hold down, just all DPM, just raw power. And then typical tier 10 medium gun stats. You've got the 264 pen, which is good. It's good. I mean, you're getting APCR as random or as what am I saying? As standard rounds, so that's very good. And then you get your heat with the 330 pen, which you won't really use unless you're extremely desperate to do damage. I'll only highlight or explain a couple situations where you'd ever want to use heat, which is the only times I ever shoot gold, and any tank for that matter. And then 50 pen with HE, but you shouldn't really be running HE in this tank since you only get 50 rounds, and since you're going to be spitting out rounds so fast, you're just going to be, you're going to have that adrenaline rush, like you're trying to just do as much damage as possible, taking shots you wouldn't normally take just because you can get them out as fast as you can, like those clutch shots, and that can end up hurting you in the end if you ever come into a clutch situation and you don't have much ammo left. But you've got your standard 100mm 320 alpha, that's standard across the board for the other two Russian mediums as well. And then I already went over the traction stuff. So what I was going to talk about earlier was the turret. It tells you it's 248 in the front, and that's really nice. It really is really nice, and it is really nice when you're hull down and they don't know about the top of your turret. So if you're looking directly at this tank, like I am now, right next to the gun manlet and about where the Soviet Star is, that's where your 248mm is. And right above that, where the viewport is, and I think that's the gunner's sight, it's only 220, I think. Here, let me look at my armor assistant. But if you can see the little spot on top of the turret where it kind of pokes up right in between the cupolas, that is only 30mm thick, and that is not good. And I can explain why, because say you're getting shot at, hold down, and they have, like, you're sitting still for some reason, which you shouldn't be doing in a Russian medium, and they shoot you, but they miss the turret and they hit the top of the turret, like or next to the gun mallet, it will penetrate if it's anything over a 90mm gun. It will overmatch the top of the turret and go in no matter what. And that can end up hurting you big time if you are, working a ridge, you're trying to defend the base and you're the only one there, you're sitting behind a hill, trying to reset the cap, save the game. And then that, along with the two cupolas, which are pretty easy to hit, can end up biting you in the ass in the end. But if you're playing this thing correctly and you keep moving, you're making yourself a really hard target, you shouldn't really have any problems with it. I can only count on one hand the amount of times I've gotten penned in the top of my turret in this thing. I know on the PC forums and amongst the PC community, the general rule of thumb with this tank is that the turret is awful and it ruins the tank, along with the terrible gun stats and soft stats on the gun. But I find through practice that this tank is very viable. I mean, after all, it is a Russian medium, and it is still extremely strong when you're in that 1v1 brawling situation. And it has a log, so, I mean, it's got to be good. So another thing I want to touch on is that if you look at this tank, you may notice how high it is off the ground. This tank actually is very, very small. The chassis actually stops, and you probably got about a foot under the tracks there. So you're gonna be, you're gonna get some of those lucky situations where you're, driving laterally in front of someone and you're not trying to get hit, but they hit you, but they were leading their shot too much and their balloon was too big, and they end up just hitting your tracks because your tank is so small. Another thing I wanted to talk about is the ridiculous spaced armor on the side of this thing. You will see in the gameplay towards the end, when I'm circling the Waffenträger, you will see the spaced armor come into play, and it's a very, very interesting tank, to say the least. It's not it's really weird compared to the other two. I mean, the other two are really straightforward. There's nothing like super quirky about them, but this thing just has a lot of weird qualities. You know, with the crazy fast rate of fire and this crazy spaced armor that eats up a ton of shots, and that's one of the reasons why I think this is the #1 brawling medium in the game. I would take this tank against any other tier 10 medium in this game, give or take the STB if it's a really good driver, and I have the utmost confidence that I would win, because this thing is absolutely ridiculous in a 1v1 situation. And you're gonna see why when I go up against this Waffenträger. And I wish I had another gameplay to show you of just some raw one-on-one medium combat, but I've yet to get a decent gameplay of that. But the last thing I want to talk about before we get into the gameplay is the 40mm plates. If you can see the seam right where it meets the driver's viewport, that little triangle and on here is only 40mm thick. So if you're shooting at this thing and he's sitting still and you have a 120mm gun, you can overmatch that armor and you won't even have to aim. But I mean, honestly, if you're shooting at this thing frontally with a 120mm gun, you're gonna go through anyway. Just a little fun fact. So that's pretty much it for the garage review. Oh, I should probably go over equipment fit and consumables and stuff, since I forgot to do that in my bachelor review. So my standard setup is 40 APCR, 10 heat, pretty standard. APCR is what you're gonna be firing most of the time. I wouldn't run as many heat rounds, but since the alpha on this gun is a little bit lower than the 105mm tier 10 medium guns, I run a little extra. And the only time I ever use heat is if I am shooting at a hold down U100 Jaegeru, anything with like a super strong turret or like superstructure, but it's flat and easy to pen with a heat round. I'm not really big on shooting gold anyway. I like the satisfaction of penning a shot because I actually know where to shoot and I aimed. So I'd run a lot more APCR than I would heat. And then consumables wise, just, you know, your standard small and, well, I run a large picket because it helps protect your crew. And I don't like dead crew members. And food just to get that reload down even more than it already is. I mean, the rate of fire base is ridiculous as it is, but this just makes it even better. And surprisingly, you can run a profit with this thing if you do very well. I mean, I have premium time, but you can run a profit while running food if you do well. And then equipment fit, I run the gun rammer, vertical stabilizer, and vents. I should probably run optics over vents, but again, I'm trying to get that reload down as low as possible so I can get the maximum amount of DPM. And then vertical stabilizer is essential on this tank due to the high dispersion while moving. You're not really going to be shooting on the move much unless you're, you know, running away from a situation where you're in danger. But that's about the only time I would ever be shooting on the move with this thing. So let's cut to the gameplay. See how this thing plays. Alright guys, so basically what you're going to see this game is a lot of just mass DPM. This was a game from my live stream last night. I was playing with my good buddy Dibs, Morning Woody, formerly known as Morning Woody. He's now pretty salty, and his friend Bravo. And this is a game on Himmelsdorf, which is, I mean, not your ideal medium tank map, but it turned out extremely well, and you'll see what I mean when you see the scoreboard when it's over. But what you're basically going to be seeing me do here is just keep the gun singing. I mean, that's I can't stress it enough. This gun is extremely powerful if you're in a situation where you can put that rate of fire to use and make those shots work.
Great.
You're gonna see right off the rip here, you know, I'm just doing medium tank things. I'm gonna try and go up top, you know, brawl with the other mediums on the other team with the no amount that they had, which I hadn't noticed at the time. So my basic thoughts is that I'm just gonna come up here, you know, brawl with some people, and then maybe have to come back and deal with those IS-7s and the IS-4s. You're gonna see me absolutely violate the IS-4 after we come back off the hill here. And initially I think Megadeth is a forum member. I'm pretty sure he saw me and shot me because he recognized me. But what you're gonna see me doing here right off the rip is, we noticed that no one came up the hill. You know, you're gonna see me here. I'm going to go up on the debris pile here in the middle and try to side scrape, you know, get ready for them to push up the hill, but they eventually never did. And initially I didn't see all of the heavy tanks down low. You know, it was kind of my bad. I should have, you know, seen that. I was kind of tunnel visioning. And when I actually do look at the map here in a couple seconds, yeah, I just did right there, I turn around and I'm looking for these side shots at the people that are going to be around the G4, G3 area, and the people that are going to be crossing in the middle. And as you can see here, you're going to see the long aim time here. I mean, it's not super long, but it's not amazing. You know, it's not a leopard amazing. And you're going to see, you know, I kind of rushed my shot here. Well, not really, but I thought I was going to be able to penetrate the unangled part of that. But you're going to see a nice lead here. That's another advantage to using APCR overheat, you know, the nice shell velocity. And then when I see that I can't hit that TD, and I see where a team.
I love how everybody came up.
And
here.
I don't know,
like
if any of you were watching, but you're gonna hear me slightly rage at our team for everybody coming up on the hill for some reason.
Why?
That's a great idea.
Why is the 452B here? You're gonna see
what
me,
is the
E100
kind of get aggressive. You know, I was kind of a little irritated that everybody
thinking?
did this. You know, it wasn't looking too good. I didn't think we were gonna win.
Fucking idiot.
You know, shot that guy because I was pissed off because I don't know why he's up there, but you know, it's whatever. And what you're gonna see me do here is I'm gonna come up to this corner and I'm gonna try to side scrape. Well, I do side scrape, but I don't actually end up taking any fire. And what's gonna happen here is the IS-4, which thinks he is perfectly safe. Wow, look at that. How did I pen that? Well, if you know anything about the IS-4, you will know that the roof of the turret you can overmatch. Same thing with the Object 430, but it's not as noticeable, and most people don't know about it. But anytime you see an IS-4 and you have, you know, you're shooting down on it and you can see the top of that turret, always aim for it, because you will hit it and it will go through no matter what. I mean, you're probably looking at that thinking, you know, that's such a steep angle, how is it going through? But wow, that was bad. But you're gonna see that it's just no matter the angle, it's gonna go through, and you're just gonna overmatch it every time. And I'm pretty much just punishing this guy. He can't really do much about it. I don't really know why no one tried to shoot him in here. You know, he kind of sat out in the open. He was trying to shoot at the U100 the entire time. I don't really know what he's doing. Could have got some free shots on me. I mean, I would have, you know, popped back out or popped back in, so he wouldn't have shot my hole frontally. So I would have taken the damage with my tracks or whatever. And right there, you're gonna see that aim time is a little long. You know, when you're trying to take clutch shots like that. Luckily, I got good RNG and it went in. And then you're gonna see here, just kind of shoot the IS-4, you know, exposing the underbelly of his tank. Not really any surprise there. And then again, exploiting that top of the IS-4 turret. You know, that's one of the biggest downfalls of that tank. And then really poor shot there. I was kind of frustrated after taking that shot, and then the C100 wasn't really helping me out. Just keep moving in front of my shell, sending me by the way. I was able to get one in. And then what you're about to see is probably one of the funniest things that's ever happened to me in this game. You're gonna see the spaced armor I was talking about come into play here in a couple seconds after I shoot this T-54.
Because I fucking am the best. You should have seen how many times I...
Yep, wow, that was an AP shell from an artillery piece hitting the spaced armor and doing no damage. So yeah, I told you guys about that spaced armor, and I was not kidding. And as you can see here, you know, I was rolling at a pretty decent speed. Now, granted, I'm on hard terrain and flat ground, but you know, it gets up to that speed and it can keep it. It's not, you're not really losing anything, you know, when you're playing a Russian medium as opposed to like a Bat Chat or a Leopard or anything. And then right here, you know, I'm just punishing this guy. This rate of fire is insane. I don't know if you guys have been watching my reload counter, but it tops off at 5.06, and it's just, it's brutal, man. It's I actually don't know how to. I can't really
Like the first.
You know, it's
the
stressed
real
enough
question
how
is, why were
good
you
the
aiming
rate of
for his
fire on
gun?
this tank is, other than just showing you, you know, just
Dumb.
sheer,
That is so dumb.
the sheer power of this thing in a one-on-one combat
That is
situation.
like a new move right there.
And, you know, I see the 2 tanks there, you know, in our base, and then I'm like, ooh, a nice square to get a free shot on, and luckily he wasn't able to get a shot off. And then here's that thing I was talking about in the garage, in the review part of the tank review in the garage, where the waffle is going to put some shots on my spaced armor here. This guy, I don't really know what he was doing right there. I'm pretty sure he just hit the right bumper and tried to shoot me. And that was extremely weird, me shooting the waffle inside and it doing nothing. And then you're going to see the spaced armor here in a second after I try to get a drive wheel shot here. Yep, there's 1 in the spaced armor. And there's 2. That's that spaced armor I'm talking about, man. And that's another thing I wanted to highlight with this tank, is if you're ever driving in a stationary tank looking at you right in front of you, if you kind of drive at an angle and you just keep going at that diagonal angle towards them, unless they lead extremely far, they're not really going to be able to hit the front of your hull. And the spaced armor will eat it up. And as you can see there, 22 pinning shots. Obviously, this is gonna be a monster game. Made a good, healthy amount of credits there, 58k or whatever it was.
Yeah. What about those numbers,
7,000
kid?
damage.
Yeah, you're dropping
Wow,
numbers.
that is ridiculous. All right, so as you guys saw, I mean, that was a pretty good game. A couple things. There was a lot of things that I was talking about in the review in the review part of the video that I exploited in the actual gameplay, which was the the monster DPM, the really good the good rate of fire, decent accuracy. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not amazing. It's not as good as the other 2. But you saw that aim time on that IS-4 in the beginning, and then you saw it again when I was shooting in that IS-7 in the lower plate. But then you also saw some pretty ridiculous things, such as the artillery shell hitting my spaced armor with an AP shell and doing nothing. That was pretty cool. I can't really say that's ever happened before, obviously, since I said it was the first time it happened. But then again, when I was running circles around the waffle, you saw the second time he actually got a shot on me, the spaced armor ate it. And to further on what I was talking about, when I was referring to driving in a diagonal position, that's something that is really good in a tank like this. So say there's like a like where that truck is, say he's kind of a little bit more to the left, so kind of near the corner. If I'm driving straight like this and I'm pointing my gun at him and he's really far away and he's trying to shoot me, 9 times out of 10 he's not going to be able to hit the front of my hull. And the shots will just get eaten up by the side of the tank and the spaced armor, so you won't really take any damage. Maybe just tracks, and then you'll maybe take 1 or 2 shots while you're tracked. But once you get your tracks back up, just keep going. And then I use that a lot when I'm trying to close the distance on enemy tanks and, get in there to perform the circle of death, because most of the time I am playing a medium tank, unless I'm playing this bad boy, which I will be doing a review on soon. But pretty much the Object 430 in a nutshell, it's not the best of the 3 tier 10 Russian mediums overall, but I wouldn't say it's bad. It's very, very good if you can find your niche with it. This is one of those tanks that you really have to play to the strengths of it, and the weaknesses are really, really glaring. So you always want to put yourself in the best position to exploit those advantages that you have over most of the other medium tanks in terms of rate of fire and having the best DPM among the tier 10 mediums. But you also want to keep away from, sniping with this thing, because you're not really going to be able to reliably hit all those shots consistently, as well as exposing the top of that turret, because it will bite you in the ass. If you're in a clutch situation and you've got only 100 hit points left, and then you get shot by like a Yag Tiger in the top of the turret, and you're like, wow, man, how he penned that? And then you remembered you watched my video, and you saw that, or you just knew from watching PC gameplay or someone telling you that the top of the turret is not good. But that's pretty much going to do it, guys. you know, like, comment, subscribe. I'm not really gonna ask for any of that stuff. I'm not really doing this for, you know, trying to get famous or anything. I'm just doing this to try to help out guys, you know, figure out how to kill this thing. You know, if you're thinking about getting this tank, you know, just trying to giving you my opinion on this tank and what it's capable of. You know, that's basically why I started this channel, was just, you know, kind of help out people and to kind of, you know, grow with the community and kind of make a name for myself in the community. I've always wanted to do this, and I just finally been able to. And it's really nice, you know, trying to teach people how, or giving people tips, and, you know, and I'm not claiming to be some, you know, World of Tanks god or anything. I mean, I still have a lot to work on. I'm always looking to be a better player, and you know, watching gameplays and stuff and seeing where I went wrong is really nice for future reference when I'm, you know, in the same type of situation. So thanks you guys for watching. I'm sure I'm going to be putting up a review on this behemoth very, very soon in the future. I'm actually going away for college orientation tonight, so I won't be on or streaming until I think Tuesday night or Wednesday, sometime around there. But I'm sure I'll get back on the YouTube and Twitch grind when I get back. So thanks again for you guys for watching, and leave a comment what you think about, you know, the 430 and how it compares to any of the other Russian mediums. You know, I just want to hear you guys' feedback. I value more opinions than just mine, because I know my opinion is mine, and I like to hear what other people have to say about tanks and how they feel about things. So thanks again for watching. I'll catch you guys later.